Picture this: you are a college senior living the best years of your life. Late night laughs with your best friends, planning your future, feeling untouchable. Then, in the dead of a night, a stranger slips into your home. A knife flashes, and by morning, four young lives are gone, brutally stabbed in their own beds. No screams, no struggles. No one hears a thing. This is Moscow, Idaho, November 13, 2022. Four University of Idaho students, Kelly Concaves, Madison Morgan, Zana Knodel, and Ethan Chapin, murdered in a crime that shocked the world. The suspect, a PhD student in criminology, who thought he could outsmart everyone. This is the chilling true story of the Idaho students' murder, a case of shattered dreams, a community in fear, and a killer who left just one mistake behind. Stick around because the twist in this case will leave you speechless. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment. Do you think justice can ever truly heal the pain? Moscow, Idaho is the kind of place you will see in a feel-good movies. A college town of just 25,000 people, nested in the rolling hills of the Pelos. Doors are left unlocked, neighbors wave, and the University of Idaho is the heartbeat of the community. Murders they hadn't seen happen there since 2015. But on November 13, 2022, that sense of safety was shattered. At 1122 King Road, a three-story off-campus rental house, four students were found dead in a scene so gruesome it left even seasoned investors shaken. No sign of forced entry, no clear motive, and for weeks, a terrified town had no answer. The house on King Road was a hub for the victims and their friends, a place for late night study sessions, parties, and shared dreams. It was built on a hillside, with entrances on the first and second floor, making it both accessible and vulnerable. Five female students lived there, but that night, a sixth person, Ethan Chapin, was visiting his girlfriend, Zana Knodel. To understand the weight of this tragedy, we need to know who these four young people were and why their loss left a void that still felt today. Kelly Concaves and Madison Morgan, both were 21-year-old, were inseparable. Growing up together in Idaho, they shared everything: middle school, high school, and even the same sorority. Kelly was a senior in general studies, set to graduate early and start a tech job in Texas. Maddie, a marketing major, worked part-time at the Mad Greek restaurant in Moscow. A smile lighting up the room, they were the best friends who lived like sisters, sharing a bedroom on the third floor of the King Road house. Zana Knodel, a 20-year-old woman, was a junior in marketing. Originally from Arizona, she made Moscow her home. Known for her infectious humor, she loved dancing and making her friends laugh. That night, her boyfriend, Ethan Chapin, 20-year-old, was staying over. Ethan, a freshman from Washington, was a triplet who brought joy together. A basketball player with a big smile, he was visiting Zana after a night at his fraternity. Kelly had recently moved out but returned that weekend to show Maddie a new car, a symbol of her next chapter. Ethan and Zana had spent the evening at a dance surrounded by friends. They weren't just students, they were dreamers, leaders, and loved ones whose future was stolen. Imagine losing your best friend, your sibling, your child in a single night. November 12, 2022 started like any other Saturday. Kelly and Maddie hit the Corner Club, a local bar, then grabbed food from a truck downtown. Zana and Ethan partied, returned home by 1:45 am. By 2 am, all four were in their rooms at 1122 King Road. Zana had just ordered a DoorDash, her last act before the horror begins. Around 4 am, a masked intruder entered through a sliding kitchen door on the second floor. Armed with a large, fixed knife, he moved around with a purpose. On the third floor, he found Kelly and Maddie in Maddie's bed. Both were stabbed multiple times. Kelly with over 20 wounds, Maddie suffered stabbed wounds on her lungs and liver. her face so badly damaged she was unrecognizable. Downstairs, Zana was awakened, possibly eating a DoorDash order. She fought back fiercely with over 50 step wounds, many defensive, to her heart and lungs. Ethan, asleep in Zana's bed, was stabbed under his left clevis, veins, and arteries. The scene was brutal. Blood pooled on floors, splattered on walls, and seeped outside the house. Two roommates, Bethany and Dylan, survived. Dylan on the second floor heard noises around 4 am. Possibly Kaylin playing with her dog, or someone saying, "There's someone here." She opened her door and saw a tall figure in black masked and walking past her. Frozen in fear, she locked her door and survived. Bethany on the first floor slept through it all. The house was a bloodbath. Police reports described a scene so gruesome that officers struggled to identify injuries at first. Kelly's dog, shared with her ex-boyfriend, was found unharmed on the third floor. No victims were gagged or restrained, and none were sexually assaulted, ruling out certain motives. The lack of forced entry suggested the killer knew the house layout or had scouted it. The town woke to horror, but while fear gripped Moscow, investigators were already chasing a ghost. Bryan Kohberger was a 28-year-old PhD student in criminology at Washington State University, just 10 miles from Moscow. He had moved to Pullman in summer 2022, a quite intense figure studying criminal behaviors. He had no criminal records, but those who know him described him as socially awkward, sometimes selfish. A fellow teaching assistant said Kohberger misled him into doing his work and was often late to classes. Investigators zeroed in on Kohberger thanks to a white Hyundai Elantra seen circling the King Road house. Cell phone data showed his phone pinged near the victim's home at least 12 times since August 2022. Often late at night, on November 13, his phone was off from 2:47 am to 4:48 am, the exact window of the murders. When it reconnected, he was driving back to the Pullman. The smoking gun, a tan leather K-bar knife shell left on the Maddie's bed next to her body. It had a single male DNA sample, later matched to the trash from Kohberger's family home in Pennsylvania. His Amazon purchases history show he had brought a similar knife, and his phone, it had searched for University of Idaho, murders, Ten Buddy, and even Britney Spears' song The Criminal. Kohberger's background was a telling. Born in 1994, he had studied psychology and criminal justice, earning a master's degree at DeSales University under forensic psychologist Catherine Ramsland. He wrote papers on crime scene processing and survived inmates about their emotions during the crimes. Some speculated he saw the murders as a twister's experiment. After the killing, he stopped visiting Moscow, paid for items in cash, and wore gloves. Odd behavior for a grad student. One mistake and one tiny piece of evidence, that's all it took. How did police catch a killer who thought he had covered his tracks? Let's follow the digital breadcrumbs. Investigators built a case like a puzzle. Surveillance cameras caught a white Hyundai Elantra near King Road at 3:29 am, making a 3-point turn at 4 am, speeding away by 4:20 am. Cell tower data confirmed Kohberger's phone was in the area, then went dark during the murder window. His car was later seen crossing the state lines heading to Pennsylvania for the holidays. Police combed thousands of tips from grainy videos to public sightings. A key break come from trash at Kohberger's family home in Pennsylvania. DNA on a Q-tip matched the knife sheath. On December 30, 2022, a SWAT team raided his parents' home. Kohberger was calm, almost detached, asking officers about his dog and parents. When questioned, he said he heard only the murder through a WSU alert and asked for a lawyer. Kohberger's behavior post-murder was chilling. He deleted data from his devices, trying to sanitize them A classmate noted a large scratch on his face around the timing of the killing, possibly from Zana's fingers. His car was stripped clear inside. He tried to erase evidences, yet he couldn't erase the digital trail he led police across the country. You are a killer on the run, but in 2022, your phone betrays you. With Kohberger in custody, the case moved to court, but the fight for justice was just beginning. Kohberger was charged with 4 counts of first degree murder and 1 count of burglary. Prosecutors initially sought the death penalty, citing the crime's brutality. His defense argued he was innocent, even claiming an autism diagnosis should spare him execution. For over 2 years, Kohberger maintained a not guilty plea, delaying the trial with legal battles over evidences and media coverage. Then on July 2, 2025, a bombshell. Kohberger pleaded guilty to all charges in a deal to avoid the death penalty. On July 23, Judge Stephen Hippler sentenced him to 4 consecutive life sentences without a parole, plus a 10-year of burglary. He was fined $250,000 to an order to pay $20,000 to restitutes to the victim's family. Victim impact statements were heartbreaking. Kelly's father, Stephen Concave, turned the lectern to face Kohberger, calling him a coward who failed to break their community. Zana's sister, Jasmine, called him a delusional loser. Maddie's stepfather spoke to growing old without their only children. Ethan's family didn't attend, but their absence spoke volume. Some, like Zana's mother, offered forgiveness, while others, like the Concave family, slammed the plea deal as a deal with the devil. A plea deal divided the families. Maddie's parents supported it, wanting closure. The Concave family felt betrayed, demanding a full confession and the murder weapon's location. Kohberger stayed silent, declining to speak and sentencing. Judge Hippler called him the worst of the worst, ensuring he die in the prison. Would you forgive a killer who took something? Justice was served, but one question lingers, haunting everyone. Why did Bryan Kohberger kill 4 strangers? Investigators found no direct connection, no text, no calls, no shared history. Yet his phone held photos of female students, including some linked to the victims. Was he obsessed? Stalking? Kelly had reported a stranger man watching her weeks earlier. The house door was found loosened days before the murder. Was Kohberger testing his plan? As a criminology student, he studied serial killers like Ted Bundy. He surveyed inmates about their feelings before and after crimes. Some theories he saw the murder as a perfect crime experiment, a way to test his knowledge. Others suggest a darker motive, rejection, envy, or a need for control. Lead detective Darren Gilbston said, "He's the only one who knows the why, and it may only make sense to him. Without Kohberger's confession, the family may never know." Speculation swirled online. Some pointed to Kohberger's past struggle with depression and heroin addiction, or him fascination with criminal minds. A former professor was shocked, saying he seemed polite, not violent. Yet his behavior, circling the house, deleting data, wearing gloves, suggests premeditations. The knife, believed to be a K-bar, was never found, leaving a final piece of the puzzle missing. The Idaho student's murder shocked a town, a nation, and families who will never be whole again. Say their names: Kelly, Maddie, Zana, and Ethan. What do you think drove Kohberger that night? Was it obsession, a twisted experiment, or something we will never understand? Drop your theory in the comments and subscribe for more true crime stories and demand answers. Next week, we will diving into another case that's just as haunting. Stay safe and keep asking questions.